Cleanliness Committee of SPM College for Women. And now I will ask Dr. Krishna Priya ma'am to welcome our host, our speaker.
Let's start.
Yes, ma'am.
Cleanliness is a mindset, a positive habit that keeps the body, mind, and environment happy, healthy, simple, neat, and delightful. A very pleasant and peaceful evening to all of you. I, Dr. Krishna Priya Sain, convener of the Cleanliness Committee of Shama Prasad Mukherjee College for Women, welcome you all on the insightful webinar on the topic Sustainable Waste Management by a respectful speaker, Madam Vani Murthy. Ms. Vani Murthy is an avid composter and urban leader. She is the founding member of Solid Waste Management Roundtable in Bangalore, which is an organization that has run successful campaigns across the city. She is also a founding member of Be Care for Mahaleshwaram and Clean Green Workshops. Ms. Vani Murthy has been conferred with Nanda Deepam Award by Nandlala Seva Samiti Trust in March 2018 and Kalasha Award by the Inner Wheel Club of Bangalore West in 2011. So without any further delay, I would like to invite Madam Vani Murthy to please start sharing your words with us.
Thank you so much, and a good afternoon to everyone. I hope you can hear me. Is my audio okay?
Yeah,
yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear.
Thank you. And a very good afternoon to all of y'all. Today, I'm like every other day, I am speaking about what I'm totally connected to is about environment and how each of us can make a difference by having practices that are earth friendly. We all hear about the climate change and how it is, destroying our ecosystem, and what are the things that are happening and how globally there are conferences and there are deadlines and governments are given all kinds of warnings to reverse this climate change, and what can we as individuals do? First of all, there is a huge awareness that is needed. And for the past 10 to 12 years, we at Solid Waste Management Roundtable, it is a group of citizens, concerned citizens who volunteer their time and their, kind of connect to the issue itself, issue of waste. And when we got together, our only goal was to get every citizen sensitized about the waste they generate. Unless you understand what you're generating and what is the impact of your waste to the environment and how is it that we can be a part of the solution, is all I'm going to talk today. More than talk, I will be talking, but at the same time, I believe in, visual impact. I will be not doing any PowerPoint presentation. That's not my forte, but I will be visually showing you all, what are the things that we need to be aware of. And also I will do a small, give you an understanding on composting. But ultimately, every choice that you take is on the basis of what you know. Probably most of you all may know or may not know what happens to our waste, because there's so much talk about what happens to the waste. I presume you as youngsters and still in college studying, I'm sure each of you have a pretty good idea of what really happens to our waste. So waste is end of use to us, but there is, the waste still has life in it, and we don't realize that. Everything that we use and we have stopped using it, we bag it, and then it's getting out of our home. And what happens to this waste when it is in a mixed form? Most of the resources are getting lost, because as I said, waste is end of use for us, but there is still life in the waste, and that life is what we need to look at. What is it that can be saved and recycled? So when we mix waste, it's taken away from our home. If you have handed it over to the municipality, they take it away outside the city limits to be dumped. and then it can end up, your waste could end up in the street corner, it could be in the drain, it could be in the lake, in any water body, lake, river, or even in the ocean. Ocean is full of garbage. And also waste gets burnt, which is again very bad for the environment. But what really happens at the landfill is what I need to tell you all about. When mixed waste, that is including your organic waste from your kitchen, there could be plastic, metal, glass, everything that we have used. When it reaches the landfill, the lorry loads dump it. It's usually outside the city limits, and it is surrounded by village, especially in Bangalore where I stay. It's surrounded by villages which are actually growing fresh vegetables to be sent to the city. The proximity is very close, around 30 to 40 kilometers, where these landfills are situated. And what really happens is lorry loads of them leave the city to dump it at this place. When they dump it, they compact it so that they can bring the next day's waste and dump. So it actually grows like a mountain. Many of you all must have seen, even in Delhi, outskirts of Delhi, in any city that you go, a land dump is a kind of something that is definitely visually, terrible, scary. Because when you see so much of waste, you don't know what's happening there. Most of the landfills are set into fire because there is so much of methane that's getting out. Because when organic matter gets trapped because of the compaction, and as we all know, and you're all science students, that when there is no oxygen, organic matter breaks down anaerobically, and when it breaks down anaerobically, that's where the methane gets out. And methane is a deadly greenhouse gas, directly, the climate change, it's affecting the climate change, the global warming that we are talking about. And the second thing that happens in the landfill is a dark fluid called the leachate that runs off these landfills because of the organic matter breaking down anaerobically. And when that leaves this mountain of garbage, it enters the soil around, and also it enters the groundwater, because there is no scientific landfill. A landfill is supposed to be scientific, where you're containing the leachate. It's not supposed to be seeping into your soil or into your ground. But there's nothing like that now. We have visited the landfill, and that actually sealed my deal for my commitment towards creating this awareness. That was way back in 2009. So this leachate enters the groundwater and contaminating the water. It enters the soil, contaminating the soil, and most of the villages, what they grow is in contaminated soil. And of course, the air pollution because of the methane. So the three things that are so important for life to thrive on this planet, it's polluted. And who is responsible? It's not the municipality that is picking your waste and dumping it there. It is we, because we did not take responsibility of the waste we generate. We just said that somebody is going to take care of it, and out of my house and out of sight, then that's what it is. So when after we visited the landfill and came back, we were very clear in our resolve that we will look for how we can decentralize the waste management, help that every citizen helps the municipality to deal with the city's waste. So we become a part of the solution. And what we really started off is campaigns. And our first campaign was 2 bin 1 bag, where segregation got mandated by the court, because segregation is key to managing waste. And also you always hear about the waste hierarchy. It's the reduce, reuse, and recycle. That's the 3 R's that we talk about constantly. But there is another R that's much higher than the 3 R's at the bottom. That's refuse. So we looked at how we can reduce the waste. Then we can look at how we'll manage it in our homes. So this is an individual action. So what are the different ways that you can reduce waste? Firstly, just refuse anything that is single use. Today, we are in the culture of use and throw. It was never part of our culture. We just imitate the West. So anything that is we use once and we discard is something that we have been using. It's become a part of convenience. It is very easy for us not to look at stuff that is reusable, but use it once and discard. So I'll just take you through a few things that we can actually refuse. as a part of our action that we take to make this planet a better planet. Because there's one thing that stuck in my head very much in the beginning when I started this. I'm a homemaker, never left, did anything outside home, but trash caught my attention, and that's where I started exploring what can I do. And I stepped out of my house, and so we looked at how we can get people to start being sensitive about their consumption. What is it that I'm consuming that is harming my planet? One thing that stuck in my head was one statement that this earth does we do not inherit this earth, but we borrow it from our future, that is from generations that are going to come onto the earth. And it makes so much sense that either we leave what we have borrowed from somebody the way we received it, or make it better, but don't trash it, is what that was what primarily in my head when we as a team started doing stuff. And so to refuse anything that is single use, I'll just show you a few things very quickly. What can you do? So instead of accepting or saying yes to this, if you can just say no to a bottled water, because anything that you use once and throw, it has used natural resources, and it has there is energy used to make it, and also it gets transported, it gets filled up, and then you buy it and then use it once and throw. It does not make any sense, because the biggest problem is depleted resources. What are we leaving behind? If we consume the way we are consuming, we are going to deplete everything, and there is very little that we are leaving for the future generations. The second thing that's happening is lots of other species, millions of other species live on this planet along with us, and we are making their lives also miserable by the way we consume. So it's very important for us to look at the ecosystem that needs to thrive by good practices, by the evolved human beings that we are, because we are doing everything the opposite. What the earth needs is organic matter, where life thrives, because if you put organic matter in soil, that's where the microorganisms and all the life that the soil needs is there. But instead of putting it there, we send it to the landfill and pollute the environment. And what the soil does not digest, that's where what we're putting into the soil. It's plastic. It's every bit of plastic that we consume that goes into the soil. It is styrofoam, it's toxic material, it's chemical cleaners that leave our home. They are ending up in water bodies and into the soil. So we are doing exactly the opposite. If we could just understand this and reverse the way we actually look at waste. Waste is a resource. Waste is to be minimized. Waste is to be very consciously generated. What you generate should be something that the earth can digest, and something that is not one time use. So you have to look at how you can refuse that. If you need to refuse this, you need to carry this. So wherever you go, just make sure this is always a part of your bag. When I cannot leave my house without my keys, my car keys, my house keys, my mobile phone, and my wallet. Even if you don't have wallet, your mobile phone you can still purchase. But then when I don't leave my house without these essentials, that I need. I also don't leave my house without the bottled water and without other things. I'll show you what else I put into my bag before I leave. Many people ask, isn't it so difficult to carry this? Isn't it a burden? I said, I'd rather carry this burden than burden my planet with things that, with things that I've used once and I'm discarding. So this could be one of your first attempts to, make that shift, because we need to shift gears very fast, because the time is running out and we all need to be in the action mode. We need to be warriors, not to fight something, but to protect the environment, protect the ecosystem that's completely getting destroyed and damaged. And that is why we have problems with extreme climates. And that's what we need to contribute to positively. And there is where you are a part of the solution. And each of us can take this action without any problem. And you just have to be on that path, one step at a time. Maybe the bottle, carrying your own bottle could be the first step. So I'll just show quickly what are the different things that I put in my bag, so that I can refuse stuff. So I always carry a small plate wrapped in a napkin, so that if I'm out and I want to eat a pav bhaji or maybe a sandwich, I have a plate ready so that I can refuse anything that is single use. This is multi-layer, it cannot be recycled also, and so this is something that I will definitely avoid by refusing this. Because, and if I refuse this, I can still eat because I have my plate in my bag. The second thing is I carry a tumbler so that I can refuse. The plastic cups are banned, but paper cups, people always say paper cups are biodegradable, it's paper, so what's wrong in using it? But when I put the paper cup into my compost bin, you can see this is the paper cup that was originally a cup, and in between two layers of paper there was a thin polythene. So this is a multi-layer again, and this cannot be recycled. Paper cups cannot be recycled. And there is also a wax in this. When you put hot tea, your chai, your coffee, it can get into your system too. So when you have welcome drinks with colorful paper cups, just avoid, make sure it's always reuse. So we need to create a revolution called reuse revolution, where we are reusing everything again and again and again, and not using once and discarding. That's the bottom line. So this is something that I always carry in my pouch. I make sure that I carry a napkin so that I can refuse a tissue. Again, you cut down trees to make paper, and using tissues is something such a gross waste of natural resources. Using it once, so always keep a napkin. This napkin is made from old curtain, a linen curtain that I had, and this is good enough for anything. Come back home and put it along with your wash, so that you use this. Maybe you can have a couple of them in your bag, so that you don't have to pull this tissue to use. And another thing that I always have in my bag, though I don't use it much, is a steel straw. A steel straw that comes along with a brush that can be cleaned inside. And I refuse everything, right from a plastic straw. Many of you all would have seen videos online which shows the plastic straw in a turtle's nose, and they were pulling it out, excruciating pain. And this is what we do to the nature. These animals, which are they are so beautiful, they live in harmony with nature, and we put stuff out into the ocean which are harming them. So I don't even subscribe to alternatives to plastic. This is a paper straw, this is a colorful paper straw, this is a bamboo straw. Again, you're going to use resources to make them. Use once and discard, it makes no sense. So the best thing would be to completely refuse. Drink your tender coconut water without a straw. If you can drink beer, and you can drink whiskey without a straw, why a straw in a cocktail, or a juice in a juice, the straw for the juice? Just refuse it when you order itself. I tell them, if you bring a straw, I'm not going to pay for that. So because they'll put it inside and then remove, doesn't make any sense, because it's still my drink that they have put it in. So these are stuff that we can look at how we can. And also carrying your own bag. Just put a pouch. This pouch opens out to become a big bag. Plastic covers are banned. Most people love plastic covers because this is one way they can stuff all their garbage and tie a knot and throw it out of the home. This plastic covers has been banned, but instead of that, they have come out with covers that are biodegradable, compostable, all this. And again, they're using food, starch to make these. And we have no idea if it has no plastic, and it won't break down in my compost bin. It needs high heat, more than 72 degrees, for this to actually break down. So I don't think that's an alternative. And also, instead of plastic, now all the shopkeepers give you bags like these. These are colorful, and they are soft. You can roll them. It looks like cloth, but unfortunately, this is PP, that is polypropylene non-woven bags. You will see the stitch kind of thing. This is not a stitch, but it is pressed, heat pressed. And I'll just show you a small experiment to tell you that it melts like plastic. This is the bag that I've been showing in different. I burn it to show you all that this is something we should not accept, because this is plastic. It is plastic and it cannot be recycled. So if I burn this, it burns like plastic, and it smells like plastic. It's just melting away, and that horrible smell of plastic burning is there in this. So this is something that we need to be aware, so that we need to refuse these white bags that look like cloth, and this is not cloth bag. And most people are shocked that this is not cloth bag, because it looks like cloth bag, it feels like cloth bag, but it is polypropylene non-woven bag. So these are some of the things that you can instinctly or instantly start making a change, a shift. And also, instead of using the masks that are disposable, go for a cloth mask, because this is going to stay for quite some time. We need to protect ourselves and protect others, with this pandemic still looming large on on the entire world. We need to make sure we don't use these and discard them, and they are found everywhere. So this is another shift that you can make. And one important aspect that I want to talk to you all about is, I don't know, most of you must have heard about sustainable menstruation. A menstruation that is sustainable means there is no use and throw there. And most of us are, I have passed my period time, and I wish I knew about this before. Cloth pads were there, because I know my mother used cloth pads. My grandmothers used cloth pads. But by the time I matured and I had my period, it was the sanitary pads that we were using. And only now I got to know that, only now in the sense, not now, but a few years back, when this was introduced, I got to know how harmful they are. This is not just single use. This is 90% plastic. Your sanitary pad is 90% plastic. It has gels, it has bleaches, and all that, which are chemicals, and they're not good for our skin. And of course, these tampons too. These are something that we can completely avoid. There is a movement around sustainable menstruation called Green the Red, greening your period. And this is something that we have very, very vocally pushed. Go back to cloth pads. You get lovely cloth pads now. A lot of new businesses have started. And of course, the magical menstrual cup. This is something, when my niece came and stayed with me 7 years back, I gifted her this menstrual cup. And she said it was like liberating, because she's an athlete. She cycles, she goes for hiking and all that. And once she got comfortable using it, there is no going behind. She's converted all her cousins, her sisters, everybody into start using these. These are menstrual cups, are nothing but silicone. They are silicone. You can go online and check on lots of material available on how to use it, where it's found. And this is nothing but, you just have to. So if this is your, there are different folds. I always say I missed the bus, and I wish I had my period, so that I could have used this. But unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to use it. It is like, this is your inside. This is the vagina, and this is the uterus. And you just have to insert into the vagina in different folds, and then you leave it. It gets into the vacuum mode, and the blood drops into that, and it takes 8 hours for it to actually fill up enough for you to remove it. There are different ways to remove: pinching, releasing the vacuum, and then removing it, and then you flush it down the toilet, the blood, and then rinse it, and then you put it back. It's just clean your hands and clean this. That's it. This is silicone. This is medical grade. People who have used it, you have to talk to them. People who are interested, go online, check Green the Red. People handhold you, they help you to understand. And once you get to know how to use it, When you're relaxed, you have to be very relaxed, because you don't want your muscles to be tight where it's painful when you insert. So this is something that changes completely your period. You don't even realize you have your period. Once in 8 hours, you empty it and put it back, and you can you can do anything that you want. You can swim, you can go do any sport that you wish to. So this is something that people are aware or not aware, I don't know, but this is a huge movement that is going on. Just check on this sustainable menstruation. Of course, another thing is the baby diapers. There are more gels. There are only it's like 50% more than what is here for the baby diaper. Again, this is 90% plastic, and this has bleaches, and of course this gel which is chemical, and this is again not good for the babies thing. Going back to cloth diapering, you get lovely colorful ones with inserts that you can take out and wash, and you can reuse them. So you are effectively refusing anything that is used once and discarded, because it adds to the pollution. Diapers and sanitary pads can clog drains, and it can be hugely messy. So these are some of the things. And other little things that I have shifted is, you, instead of using this earbuds which has plastic, there are bamboo earbuds that are available. So next time when you purchase few things like the toothbrush, instead of buying the plastic toothbrush, go for a bamboo one. You have lots of online stores selling these. Next time when you buy a comb, don't go for the plastic, but for the the wooden one. Same way, clips. When these clips, when we used to hang, simple thing as a clip that you used to hang the clothes, they get brittle and they break. Instead, anything that is like, this is a wooden cloth peg, this is a steel cloth peg. So things that can be lasting longer, and also it helps you choose things that are good for the planet. So these are some of the things that we can all do. And once you have reduced the amount of garbage, then you look at your what you generate, what kind of stuff that is. Do a waste audit in your home after a week of collecting, and then you see what is it still that I need to discard. Is there packaging that comes which has bubble wraps, and can I look at eco-friendly packaging? Can I take something that is unpackaged? Can I buy? So there, I mean, the list is endless for you to be on that path. You don't have to have eco anxiety, because I hear that word a lot nowadays, eco anxiety, that people are getting stressed that they're not doing enough. But don't overwhelm yourself. It is the path that you have to choose, a path of sustainable living, where you make choices, conscious choices about how are you going to understand more about your consumption. That's it. If I consume this, after my consumption, what's going to happen to it? Where is it going to land? Is it going to hurt something? So all these are some of the things that we can dwell on and take on small practices at a time. And then once you understood what is it that you generate in your waste, the next step will be segregation. In Bangalore, we have three-way segregation, where we're looking at 2 bin and 1 bag. The bin is green bin is your organic waste, which is 60% of your waste. The red one is for rejects, and the bag is for all the recyclables. So stuff that can go for recycling. We have a fantastic, what do you call, an unorganized sector, that they are people who understand waste a lot, because you see them picking waste in mounds of waste where we throw. They pick stuff that can go for recycling. That's how they earn their livelihood. And for these people who work in this space, we need to give some dignity. And for that dignity, we need to keep our waste clean and divert it. In Bangalore, we have, every ward has a dry waste collection center, that is the DWCC, and we send our dry waste there. We collect it for a week or a fortnight, and then we send it. There are vendors who will come and pick it up if it's a large apartment. So we connect to people who are in the recycling sector, and that's a sector that needs our support by giving clean waste. If you have a box, a takeaway box that is with a lot of gravy and there is some food in it, you make sure you rinse it along with your other dishes. and then dry it and give it clean so that it can go for recycling. And their job is less, because at the DWCC they segregate it further, and then they actually create value for the waste, and they bale it and they send it to the recyclers. So this is something that we all can do, every city should do, that we create such facilities right from the pickup, so you're diverting things away from landfill. So the whole thing is saying no to a landfill, because that's the one that is creating so much of pollution. And the next step definitely could be composting, because 60% of your waste is organic waste. I am a person who has fallen in love with composting. I talk non-stop about composting. I do workshops, and after the pandemic, I have done more workshops than my entire 10 years in this space, because there is a huge opening on Instagram. I have 200k followers. It just grew. I was like 2,000, 3,000 before the pandemic, the number of people that were following me. I'm called Worm Rani on Instagram, WORMRANI, Worm Rani. That association is because I have earthworms. I talk about them and about composting. So I had 2,000, 3,000 following, and the pandemic just gave me an amazing opening to reach out to many people. I think social media is a powerful, very powerful tool to create this kind of awareness, where we are getting people to take actions, especially composting. So I do a lot of videos. I keep giving a lot of information. It could be overload of information, but there are always like 1,000 people who have joined newly, who still don't know anything, and I constantly bombard on my Insta handle things that people can take as an action. It's just sharing my practices, and that's what I do. And you youngsters are so high on social media, and I'm sure if you can also not just practice but talk about it, it'll be fantastic. So composting is an experiential learning, and this is something that when I did for the first time, because I went to the landfill and I didn't want to send my organic waste there, because organic waste is the one that is creating problems. It is creating the pollution. And if I can manage the organic waste within my home, I thought that will be the best. So I started to look at composting as a way to not let that go out. Not only it is polluting, but it is great resource that needs to be held back and put where it belongs. Where does organic matter belong? Where does your kitchen waste belong? It belongs to the soil. So every day we eat, we are, Indians especially, we cook fresh food every day. We have vegetable peels, fruit peels, all kinds of stuff that comes from our kitchen. And this is something that should not get out of your home and reach the landfill or anywhere else. It needs to go back to building soil. And to build that soil, you need to compost. Compost is creating a living soil. When you compost, it is millions of microorganisms that is breaking down this for this to become compost, this is the compost that I make. It's dark, rich, black in color, and that is the one that is keeping the soil alive, and all the nutrients that a plant needs is in this organic matter that has become ready for the plant to absorb. Compost is the end product of the organic matter, which is ready for the plants to absorb. And that is why we need to reach this to the soil. And composting is not rocket science. It is always an experiment. We should treat it like an experiment and start looking at how we can try this out even in the smallest spaces that we have. There are 5 things that I need you all to understand. I'll do a quick get you to understand quickly what composting is. Firstly, it's the green matter. This is high in nitrogen, and also it's high in moisture. The second thing that you need for composting is dry matter, which is high in browns. The browns are the dry matter, which is high in carbon. And these are nothing but dry leaves. If you crush them, they become very easy to compost. It could be hay, it could be fire, it could be cocoa peat. So there are different kinds of browns that you can add along with your fresh greens. The third thing is the accelerator. The accelerators could be, my favorite accelerator is the cow dung, the desi cow dung. You know, all the farmers those days had cows, and the agriculture was very natural ways of growing food. So cow dung is my first choice. Otherwise, there are store-bought EM solution. There are powders that is available in the store. There is the waste decomposer, which is caught up right now. This is again a product from the cow urine and cow dung. And of course, the simplest and the easiest would be buttermilk. Buttermilk, sour buttermilk could be the microbes that you could add to your compost. What do these microbes do? They accelerate the process. So when you add your browns and your greens, if there are enough microorganisms, moisture and oxygen, then they start to break down rapidly. And then at the end of 40-45 days, you have this amazing, sweet smelling, rich black, moist soil. I mean, moist compost, which is what we need to add to our plants. If it gets dry, it's like tea powder. But when it's moist, it is very, very lovely. It's like the first rain that hits the soil. That's the kind of smell that you get when you smell the compost. So compost is about taking a container. This is an aerobic process. It is about getting this, it could be a plastic container, it could be a terracotta container. Keep it away from rain. Make sure there's a lid. So if you go to my Instagram IGT videos, you will see demonstrations, many tips and other stuff that I have given. I do a lot of reels, so you can catch in one of those reels, few reels that I have talked about composting. So I wouldn't go through the entire, how to demo, but I would just let you all know that when you compost, you are doing one great action every day. Every day we eat. Every day what we eat and what is left over should go back to building soil. And that is fantastic action, a daily action that really makes a difference to this planet, because 60% of what you generate, the waste in your house, is organic matter that comes from your kitchen. And also the dry leaves that I collect during the season, when there is when the trees shed plenty of dry leaves. I collect them. A lot of people gift me bags of dry leaves. I store them so that I can use these dry leaves, rich in carbon, in my composting, and create that compost. So I'm like a crazy composter. I have different kinds of system. I have earthworms. I use worm bins and earthworms to break down my food. And the castings, that is the earthworm, after it eats, what it excretes is the castings that we call, and that's so rich in nutrients for the plants. And that's something that I keep doing, so that I become self-sufficient in providing. I have a terrace. I live on the fourth floor in an apartment, and I have a small private terrace. And I love growing food, because growing food, I can't grow all my food, but growing food has given me an access to understand nutrition, to understand what naturally grown food is, what food tastes like when it's grown in living soil. And looking at the agriculture today, there's so much of chemical chemical fertilizers that are being used, pesticides and things that are not just toxic to the soil, but it's again coming back to us on our plate, our dinner plate, and our dining table, our kitchen is so much of chemicals and toxins are coming in. So we need to make choices on what kind of food we eat, and who is our farmer. What kind, when you go to the store, you don't even know who grew it and how he grew it. So for me, growing food gave me an access to understanding this. And I moved to a CSA, that is a community supported agriculture, where farmers who still believe in natural methods of farming are growing our food, right from our vegetables to our fruits, so subscribe to them. So these are some things that we move towards, so that we keep this earth rich, thriving, so that life on this planet doesn't suffocate. Because right now we are all suffocating. The soil is suffocating, the water bodies are suffocating. It's because of so much of garbage that is getting into it, so much of toxins. So I moved away from using chemical cleaners at home. I make my own bioenzymes. This is with citrus peels and jaggery and water, and these bioenzymes are all-purpose cleaner. So I have stopped all the harpics and everything that I used to use as cleaners in my home. And also personal care products, like I use shikakai. You must have seen the shikakai pods. These are the pods, and this is the soap nut or the Rita. And these are the two things that I use for my personal and for cleaning. So we have the powders, the shikakai powder and the soap nut powder. And this is used as my hair shampoo, and it's for any cleaning, right from my laundry to dishwash. And this is like floor cleaning, the bioenzyme. So things that you can make at home, which are natural, which are plant-based, which have no chemicals, and as effective or maybe better, because when it leaves your home, it's not hurting the ecosystem. You don't know where it's going to end, what leaves your home after you use. So moving away from anything that is having chemicals has been a kind of focus for me. And it's one step at a time, trying to inculcate all these into my daily habits. And also, when you bring nature to your home, that is when you grow few plants, there are birds, there are butterflies. You are actually, you don't have to go visiting some forest or some resort to go and enjoy nature. You are a part of nature. You can make nature a part of you. So that is something that we all need to look at. Sustainable living is like going back a couple of generations and see how they lived. They were the most sustainable. There was nothing like waste for them. If you looked at your grandmothers and grandfathers, how they were so thrifty. They used everything and reused everything again and again. And there was nothing like waste those days. And they always had a backyard which were growing their own food, and maybe a front yard which had a lot of flowers. So there are pollinators that come and they pollinate your vegetables. So it's in a fantastic ecosystem that they maintain. When you go to a forest, how does it look? The forest is so rich and so vibrant because there is a natural recycling happening. So whatever falls off the trees, be it dry leaves, be it fruits, be it rotten fruits, be it discharge from animals, they are all on the forest floor completely. When you move the forest floor, it's like life there. You'll see bugs, you'll see insects, you'll see ants, you'll see earthworms, and they are all converting this amazing material that has fallen on the ground into nutrients which are going back to these trees. So we need to recreate that. How does nature stay? How is it in the natural world? So we need to mimic that within our lives. We need to mimic that in such a way that we don't discharge things that the earth can't digest. So these are things that we can do. We do zero waste festivals, zero waste wedding. My son's wedding was, I wouldn't call it zero waste, but completely nothing went to the landfill. Either it went for recycling and composting, and we gave all things that were used during the wedding were all reusables, right from cutleries to uh, cloth napkins to all the cleaners in the bathrooms, and water was in water stations with steel tumblers. Welcome drink was in steel tumblers. The invites were, there were no printed invites. Everything went on WhatsApp and mail. So things like that you create in such a way that it becomes a pride for you to take on these practices, and make sure that we as the citizens of this planet look at planet as something that is so precious, because it is, because that's one which sustains life. There's no other planet that sustains life. Yeah. So if this planet is sustaining life, why are we making life it difficult for life to live on this planet? Why are so many other creatures getting destroyed? Why are trees, which are living things, getting destroyed? So I think we all need to take a stand and make sure that on our part, how are we part of the solution? Because problems are everywhere. In fact, that makes you so anxious. Where do I start? Start small, take one step at a time. You don't have to do it all. There is nothing like zero waste. It is just a target that's very, very far, but you need to be on that path. That's it. And I would take questions, and thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the wonderful session. It was really, really helpful. To be honest, we all learned many new things.
Thank
There
you.
are some students who have written things in chat box. Tanya has written, "Are these menstrual cups comfortable for virgin girls?"
Yes, absolutely. There is you can look through Dr. Meenakshi's YouTube videos. Dr. Meenakshi, if you Google search her, she's a gynecologist. She's talked about it. For very young girls, they say it's better they use cloth pads. But after 18, you can all use menstrual cup. There's no problem. That is a myth that your hymen will break and all that. So there are videos that will explain to you. So the only thing is in the beginning, because to put something into your vagina, you feel a little tense and your muscles are tight, and that is where people say you need to relax, and then it's easy. Many people insert it, and removing is a little, because again they are tense. So you will get used to it in a few tries, and it's the way to go, because I can tell you for sure that people as young as 12 years have used it, because my friend Malini, who is the owner of Stone Soup, they make menstrual cups, and also they make cloth pads and other sustainable stuff. And she introduced to her daughters very early, and they are very comfortable with it. So yeah, this is something that you have to take the call, but anybody above 18, it's very easy for them to use. There's no problem.
Ma'am, there is another thing that I myself wanted to ask. I have always heard that using cloth can cause infection.
That's the problem. It causes infection in people who don't know that they always feel it shouldn't be dried in the open. People shouldn't see, so you try to hide it, keep it in places where it's dark and it's maybe damp. So probably those are the factors. But there are menstrual cups nowadays that look like a napkin. I'll just show you. Menstrual cloth pads that look like napkin. So when you wash it, it is like, so when you dry this, nobody will even know that this is a cloth pad. So it is about, it needs the sun. You shouldn't even in fact, my friend says that she just puts it in cold water, and then she squeezes out the blood, and she puts it in the washing machine with other clothes. That's what she says. So you don't need to scrub on it and try to put soap and detergent. And that's what is being told, that it's very easy. Just check these videos. There are Green the Red is the they have, and Stone Soup also has a lot of videos. So just go through them and you will understand it better. So the infection was happening for women only because of they not drying it properly in the sun. Most people don't want to there is some kind of hesitancy about period. So that's something that has been bogged by most people.
Yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
there is.
Yeah, that is the one we should break, and it should be okay for you to try your menstrual pads out in the open, because infection definitely we should avoid, and nothing like cleaning it and drying it in full sun. That's the only solution. And yeah, you have to go for it, because these are not good. Many youngsters nowadays have PCOD, and actually there is also indication that it can cause cancer, these disposable pads, because of the chemicals that it has. And skin is a breathing organ. It is absorbing what from the pad, whatever toxins are there. It is chemicals, so we need to avoid. We are taking too many chemicals in our lives without realizing the harms, and more dependency on hospitals. So we need to really shift there. Any
Ma'am,
other
I
question?
also want to ask something.
Yeah, Tanya, tell me.
Ma'am, as per Hindu customs, flowers are offered to gods, and this creates tons of waste at religious spots. And instead of reusing it as compost, it is just thrown as waste in many places. So, can you please suggest some ways to cure this problem?
So temple in you go to our Swachhagraha is our campaign, where we introduced 3 green spots with a challenge, 1 week challenge to people, citizens of Bangalore, and it worked fantastic. So there are a lot of videos on different community composting and temple composting. So we have these mesh, cylindrical mesh, which all installed in temples, where they put all the temple flowers, and also leftover prasad or whatever, whichever is there, because usually they don't like to send it out. What is put on the god, it's believed that that shouldn't go with the other waste. Many people keep it separately, or try to put it into pots and all that, the flowers which are on god. And many people will try to dump it into water bodies, because they don't want it to go with the garbage. The garbage means it is like dirty, and this is a puja flower. So a lot of people make agarbatis with flowers. That's another industry that's picking up, where they're making agarbatis with temple flowers. And of course, every temple should have one composting unit, a mesh composter, where they are putting. Many temples have cows, so they use the cow dung to accelerate the breakdown of these flowers also. So yeah, I mean, solutions are there. In fact, if you follow us, SWMRT, we have the Swachhagraha campaign and the 2-bin 1 bag campaign. You have everything. We have models for everything. There are videos on how to do it. Yeah, it's simple. You just don't have to dump it at source. Wherever it's generated, you have to manage it there. That's called decentralized waste management, and that's the sustainable waste management we're talking.
Ma'am, there's another doubt by Shrishti. She has said that though we can make compost, but how can we use it if we are living in small apartment which don't have any garden?
Good question. So composting is a choice that you make, because first of all, you don't want good resources to get lost, because when it gets lost, it is going to pollute, because you don't know where it's ending up. And secondly, you are creating compost because that can go back to soil. So if you don't have garden and if you don't have soil, there are plenty of people that you can gift it. You can go to a park and put it into the trees. So it is on your part. You're just trying to add positivity to the soil. That's it. So it doesn't matter if you're growing. Probably it'll make you grow. Even the smallest spaces people are growing. A lot of food, right from microgreens. You can use the compost to make your microgreens. Even a windowsill is enough for microgreens in boxes. So that's like superfood. So you can use your compost if there is chance for you to start learning how to grow a few things, and then, or gift it away, gift it to the soil, to the to the environment, to the ecosystem.
Ma'am, there's another girl, Kiran. First, she's writing that there's a Arya Samaj Mandir inside of Delhi. There, they put flowers and leaves in sunlight, and they use it accordingly. There are many, many uses of these holy things. Further, solutions are there. Still needs awareness. Then she's writing, "Ma'am, I particularly want to something on do something on grand level to make as much as possible for awareness regarding sustainable uses of resources available. I request your kind suggestions."
Very good. I mean, that's great to get that feeling that you want to do, but it always starts with your practices. I mean, I can't talk of anything that I don't practice, because you don't have to convince people. Most of the people are struggling because you get it. You know why you're doing it. I want to do. I don't want to create more waste. I make sure that I reduce my waste. If I have to have buy chips, I take my dabba, and from the hot chips guy, I will get chips directly in my box so that I can avoid that plastic cover. So you make these choices because you care. You got it. You understood why you're doing it. But many people don't. So we cannot and force others to accept what we haven't done. So but if you have practiced and you talk about it with the conviction, with the passion, you just translate. It translates into action for others. So you don't have to go around convincing. When we started, it was just our idea of giving awareness. That's it. And through our practices. So if we were not practitioners, it wouldn't have come to the stage today. Bangalore is like one of the cities which has very eco-conscious citizens who are not just doing waste management, but they are also growing their food on their terraces, on little spaces that we have. So two movements have happened in Bangalore. One is about the waste management, and other is about the terrace gardening. So it would not have happened if we were not practitioners, right? So you practice everything that you want to talk about it with a lot of pride, talk about it with enthusiasm. Get You can convert anybody and everybody with your passion towards your planet. How do I nurture this planet? How do I make this planet greener and cleaner? That's something that all of us can connect. We don't have to have time for it. We don't have to slot time when we can talk on phone, watch movies for hours together. This is something that we can take it as something that is so important. I don't go to temples, I don't do pujas, but for me, Mother Earth is my temple. I need to contribute. How do I contribute to keep her clean, to keep her healthy? That's it. That's all we need to do. This is a beautiful breathing, planet. We don't have planet B, and if we don't act now, it's going to be very difficult for not just our own generations that are coming ahead. It's about other species, beautiful creatures that live with us, such biodiverse, such diverse kind of animals and insects and microorganisms. We are killing microorganisms. Because we are killing microorganisms, our immunity is compromised, and this pandemic has shown that if there were microorganisms in the soil, we would be eating healthy food which is full of nourishment, which would have kept us strong as and immune to things. So I think we need to shift there. We need to be sure that we are strong to protect our environment. So that's important. So go ahead and start your own little campaigns in your own homes, in your own buildings, and it will scale up. Today I'm talking to thousands and thousands of people. I mean, I've reached so many colleges in Delhi. I'm sitting at home in Bangalore. So there is a power there that will pull you when you believe in this, when you believe and practice in this. That's the most important thing.
Yes, ma'am, thank you for your suggestions. I believe on my behalf that there are practices in Vedas like Deva Yagya. Deva Yagya is there to do for the renovation of the environment. हम जो आज ये कैंपेनिंग करते हैं, ये सब चीज हम लोगों के लिए एक तरीके से अभी के टाइम पर एक प्रताड़ना है कि हम अपने धरती को बचाने के लिए अब प्रयास कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इससे पूर्व जो प्रयास हो चुके हैं, आई वुड लाइक टू रीगेन दैट पावर. मैं ऐसा कुछ करना चाहती हूँ. हाँ, मेरे घर में मुझे टाइटल मिल चुका है लाइक कि कबाड़ा संभालने वाली, क्योंकि बहुत सारे बॉक्सेस और बहुत सारे ऐसे प्रोपलीन ये सब चीजें वेस्ट जो हमारे घर में आता है एकदम न्यू, जो कभी खत्म भी नहीं होता. आई ट्राई कि ये कुछ पीछे से ही किसी बड़े लेवल पर इसका और ओरिजिन ही बंद हो जाए. तो आई वुड लाइक टू get some suggestions over there.
Yeah, see, the thing is, plastic, we cannot do away with plastic because that's become a part of everything. Plastic is everywhere. What we have to concentrate is on a single-use plastic. When you cut your milk packet, make sure that even that little corner, I don't know where that is, even the edge doesn't snip off. You keep that plastic, take out your milk, rinse it, use a little bit for your chai, dry it, and that whole thing can be recycled. If it's dry and clean and not stinking milk, it can go for recycle. So I think we should start.
Yes, ma'am. I'm collecting those packages. Fantastic.
So the thing is, we're not against plastic because we cannot be away from life, but how much are you going to reduce it? That's the whole thing. We cannot, because these manufacturers, they're a policy level, they have extended producers liability. They have EPR, extended producers responsibility. They are supposed to phase away stuff that are not packaging, especially packaging that is not eco-friendly or recyclable. So at policy level, there are law and everything is there, but enforcement is missing terribly. So it's up to us as citizens to wake up and start doing our bit. For me, that's my whole thing is about, can I, as a citizen of this beautiful planet, take action to make sure that I'm part of a solution and not a problem to this ecosystem. That's it.
Exactly.
Ma'am,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, there's another girl who wants to ask that, ma'am, I just wanted to know that what type of food containers can we use to distribute some of the foods to needy people in the place of plastic containers?
That's a very difficult question to answer because right now all food is packaged in in plastic. Your takeaways and everything. And it is not a material where hot food should be put at all, because when you put hot food into a plastic container, there is definitely leaching of some chemicals which make that plastic or mold that plastic. So uh, probably you can just ask them to, if suppose you go to a colony and there are needy people and they live there, you can ask them all to bring their vessels and actually distribute in a vessel. But it is not possible in every situation. And alternatives to plastic packaging, uh, very expensive. There are bagas and other things. There are different materials that they're using instead of plastic, but expensive, and which most people will not opt for. So very, very difficult to answer that question.
The students can ask their questions as well, not just on chat box. So is there anyone?
Yeah, hello. Very good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, actually, I just wanted to tell you that you are an inspiration for all of us, to be very honest, because when I was studying my environmental subject for the very first time in the first year, I was very inspired by your video. And after that day, our environment teacher introduced us to Mrs. Vani Murthy, and she was doing all that stuff. And I was really inspired. And after that day, I started composting at home. We do have a very small plot over here, but I started over here only. And after that day, I was composting every day, but ma'am, after some time it started stinking, and there were some worms, and I tried to feed them, and also I tried to manage them, but I was unable to do so. I don't know, but I was not afraid, but I don't know what should I say. I was not able to do that worm composting. And one more thing, ma'am, that whatever you do, you carry your own glass everywhere, so that you will be eco-friendly, and all those things, I love them, I really admire them. Thank you so much, ma'am, and please answer my question.
Thank you, thank you. So composting is like you have started, and you shouldn't be starting worm composting in the beginning, because vermicomposting is like when you're growing some food, you have to do vermicomposting because you need those castings. You have to try regular composting in the beginning, an aerobic composting. And composting stinks because there is excess of pure green waste, because green waste has a lot of moisture. As it starts to break down, there is a lot of wetness, and we put enough browns. If you don't put enough browns to get that balance, it has to be moist but not wet. So your compost should always be, compost itself, the process should be moist but not wet. So if it is too wet, it starts to stink, because when it becomes too wet, it is dense and air is not passing. Because of lack of oxygen, the aerobic turns into anaerobic. So that is where we should not miss the point that we need to keep it breathing, because it needs oxygen. The microbes need oxygen. There needs to be moisture, because moisture makes these the microorganisms survive and they colonize. And so these two are very important: moisture balance and oxygen. So turning the pile, putting enough browns. If it is wet, again put some more browns to add it. So you will learn it. When you start believing that compost can be exciting, the process of composting can be exciting, we'll all do it. I failed terribly when I did for the first time, but I had a resolve. I went to the landfill and I decided I won't send. So hook or crook, I had to learn. So, and how? I talk about it all the time because it is so exciting. I'm so passionate about composting, and just to make that beautiful black gold and feed my soil and see my plants grow, it's like another level altogether of satisfaction. It gives you that high, everyday high. You know, so composting and growing a garden could be substance abuse for me. So I'm on a high always. So, any other question, or can we?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask something. I am Nazia. Uh, I have seen some videos in a group called Eco Freaks. They make eco bricks with plastic bottles. So all kind of plastic waste is put in the plastic bottles, and it is pressed pressed to a point that it gets hardened, and then those bottles are used in construction. So I saw some videos where these bottles were used for making walls for economically weaker sections in other countries. It has not been practiced in India.
No, the thing is, eco bricks is again something that we don't encourage, because when such things go to the DWCC, where the waste pickers are working, sorting waste, they find it very difficult, because you are putting in not just non-recyclable, you're putting in even recyclable stuff. So if they have to remove it, the bottle is recyclable. The bottle can be recycled, but the kurkure covers, anything that is multi-layer cannot be recycled. So when they all get into that, they are actually not reaching anywhere where they are doing construction, or who is taking them. So it usually ends up at the dry waste collection center. So if you're giving it to the municipality, nobody's going to collect it separately, unless you know where you're sending it, unless you have a kind of diversion, that you're not putting it along with the mixed waste, then it makes sense. But again, we are not for it, because when they stuff the whole thing inside, when they want to recycle, then they cut it and they have to pull it out. So it takes a lot of their time. So it should reach the specific, whatever it is for. If it is for building or whatever, it has to reach there. So if you're sure that you can, people who will pick it up, or you know how to divert it, then it makes sense. But as a campaign, people just talk about it and everybody's stuffing it. That doesn't make sense, because it's ending up at the DWCC in Bangalore especially, and
Yeah,
people at the DWCC send videos on telling don't do this. It's getting difficult for us.
And is there a real danger of those plastic bottles getting burst or burnt when there is heat, especially in tropical countries during summer season?
Yeah. I mean,
That
I don't think that's a construction material, but most of the plastic that we give non-recyclable goes to certain places where they use it in the bitumen to make roads, stronger roads. So that is good, because they melt it and they put it with the bitumen. That's also happening. Yeah.
okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am, for a wonderful session. My name is Sangeeta, ma'am. I have a question. How can we contribute our efforts during these COVID-19s, where we can't even go aware people at all? Can't even aware people at all in COVID-19's time, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm sitting at home and I'm giving awareness. I'm talking to people. I'm sure you have social media handy. If you practicing something, just make sure you talk about it. You draw people into conversations about the planet, what's happening, what can we do, get big people to suggest, just involve in conversations. That's so important to get that traction. So then I have been talking every day. I have a webinar. I am very active on my Instagram. Every day I put a reel or something. So it is about you. I don't have to go out. I'm not going out anywhere. I'm not doing any awareness. But of course, when we started, we were going house to house, talking to people, and all that was happening. But right now, in pandemic, we are all at home. But of course, social media is so powerful that you can start conversations around climate change, around pollution in Delhi. You can follow people like Abhir Bhala. He's a youngster who is just standing so strong to create clean air for Delhi. He's engaging with conversations with people outside. What can we do? What actions can we take? So connect such people, and just feel active around conversations around this. That's important.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure.
I think Tanya has written a very good question here. Tanya, can you please ask your question about the affordability of sustainable options? Ma'am, she has written that don't you think sustainable options are quite expensive and are unaffordable for many people? That's why they are using plastic.
Yeah. So people who can afford, move to it, and people who can't afford, make sure that you reduce the amount of usage of plastic. See, as I said, you cannot get away from plastic. Plastic is a big part of our life right now. But anything that lasts for a long time is fine. And after its end of use, make sure that you divert it for recycling, because we have a very vibrant recycling industry in India. So kabadi walas and your raddi walas, they will take plastic, good plastic, that is strong plastic, especially virgin plastic and other strong plastic. They take like your shampoo bottles, everything goes for kabadi wala. Yeah. So, but the thing is, alternatives look expensive, but I think the more we demand it, it will be very, very competitive, and people are there are many people players in this area now, and prices are coming down. Like even food, you talk about organic food, it's very expensive. They say, oh, we can't afford organic food. I don't look at organic food as certified organic. I trust a farmer who still believes in traditional methods of farming. Now, what is given to him with generations of farmers in his family who have taught him how to do. So I believe in that, and I source it from them. So it's again choice. It is your choice.
Ma'am, these farmer markets, they are not very popular in India. Are they popular in
They are
Bangalore?
not
They
popular.
are not popular in Delhi.
Yeah, they are not popular, but there are. Every city has a farmers market. So you go and check out what kind of information you can get from these farmers markets, so that you can look at buying at least once a week, going to these markets, pick up especially your greens that's full of pesticides, your palaks and your methis and your corianders and cauliflowers. They all are sprayed, in fact sprayed, and also they're dipped in certain solutions to make it look white. So very, very bad practices are there in agriculture, and and to sell. So the more we demand natural agriculture, more and more farmers will start growing natural food, food grown in natural soil, which is healthy. All right. How long do we have? Because I have another session.
Yeah, ma'am, exactly. So we can do one thing. If there are any questions, student, you can just ask from us. We will compile them and we will mail to Vanimurthy ma'am. Okay. So Jeanette ma'am, if you can.
Sure.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving us such valuable information. On behalf of the Cleanliness Committee, I would like to take this opportunity to, thank Vani Murthy ma'am for sharing the valuable information on sustainable waste management. This was really a very informative session and very valuable information that you have shared with all of us. And this was really helpful. I think those who all were present, they were really, been enlightened with all your views and your, practice which you have been doing. This was really, I think, will help us to save our mother planet. And step by step, as you said, this can be done when we all have to be warriors and we have to start this. Definitely we'll do that. And it was great pleasure to listen to you, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was really like a wake-up call. So we all have to, start doing all this. Thank you so much.
All the very best.
Yeah, and definitely we are all here and we are all, listening to you very, carefully, and the step by step, whatever you said to go through to save this planet. And we are all, extremely grateful to our respectable principal ma'am, Professor Sadhna Sharma, whose continuous support and encouragement really make things happen. Thank you so much, ma'am. And definitely it's a teamwork. I would like to thank the other members of the Cleanliness Committee, Dr. Krishna Priya, Dr. Nazia, Dr. Shivesh, and definitely all the students who have really worked hard and worked continuously to make this happen. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vani Murthy ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for the lovely interaction.
Ma'am, only one thing I would want everybody, at least some of you to switch on your cameras so that we can take
a please, let's have a picture.
Screenshot. Please switch on your cameras, students. I would request everybody to switch on your cameras. Thank you. It is.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really a great experience.
Thank you, Muskan.
Yes.
Bye, everyone, and thank you so much for the
Yeah.
opportunity.
And we will
Talk to
really,
you, all of you.
we will
We'll
keep
take
in
your,
touch, and we
yeah,
will
we'll take
invite
your
you
work.
again for more talks in our college. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving
Thank
us.
you so much. Yeah. Thank
Bye.
you.
Hello? Hello? Madam?
हाँ हाँ जी
Meeting over?
हाँ मीटिंग ओवर
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.